Hi Scout, Erica from Scout Digital Marketing and Training here. What I wanted to talk about today was a question that I get asked quite often and has come up in a couple of the workshops that I run recently, as well as just in some of the consults and chats with students and with other clients. And it's about whether they should be investing their time and their energy and their money into SEO, search engine optimization, or Google Ads, which is the new name for Google AdWords. So I'm finally used to saying Google Ads instead of Google AdWords. And it's a very legitimate question, particularly when you're a small business or a small organisation and you do have limited time and limited budgets, and you are trying to decide where to spend your time and energy and money, and SEO and Google Ads are certainly big beasts in and of themselves and can be quite complex, and there's quite a lot to think about in there, and you might not be able to do everything. So you do need to choose with all aspects of your marketing and digital marketing where the best places are to spend your time and energy and money on, and which ones are going to give you the best results as well. And there's no guarantee. I was asked just this morning whether it's better to use Google Ads or Facebook advertising, and that's a completely other question, and in my mind, they're two very different types of advertising that need to be considered individually. And with a lot of this, sometimes it is just trying it and seeing what actually works for your organisation, which is another investment of itself, but is often the best way to get the results, because what works for one organisation or business or in one industry is not necessarily going to work for the other as well. But yeah, to cover this question that we're talking about, SEO versus Google Ads, there's three main points that I think are important to consider when you are trying to decide between SEO and Google Ads. The first one is time. So how quickly do you want results? So not necessarily how much time you have to invest, but what time frame do you want your results in? With SEO, there's no guarantee about how quickly you're going to get results. I've seen some websites go from page 2, 3, 4, 5 up to pages 1 and 2 within a couple of days. If their optimization is focused on, if they're a really healthy site to begin with, if they don't have a lot of technical issues, if they have a lot of great content, and if there's not a lot of competition in their area. So you can get results quickly with SEO when it's done well, but it's not guaranteed. I've worked with other sites where it's actually taken us months and even years to achieve really strong and sustainably strong results in organic search. So not using black hat techniques, which might get quick results, but could end up with your site being penalized and having issues down the track, but actually investing, like I said, regularly, whether it's weekly, monthly, continually investing in really great content, building quality backlinks to your website that consistently show the website often on page 1 for the keywords that it's really focused on. And that can take a long time, but when done right, it can give you results for a long time as well. So time is a factor. SEO can take time and is more of a long-term technique, in my opinion. Whereas with Google Ads, if you have the budget, if your campaign's set up correctly, if your ads get approved because they're not being disapproved by any editorial guidelines or other issues, then you can be appearing in the top of the paid search results within a couple of hours of your campaign launching, providing there are people searching for those keywords. So if you're after quick results, Google AdWords is definitely going to give you quicker results than SEO in most cases, because SEO is can take days, weeks, months, years to get those search results. The second factor is cost. So with any type of marketing we're doing, there is a cost involved in it in some regard, whether it's a time cost or an actual financial cost. So you may choose to hire someone to do your SEO for you on an ongoing basis, and that's going to result in an ongoing cost. People often offer different packages or different levels of SEO support, and that may be at their discretion, however they manage those packages. So there can be a sliding scale on those packages, and again, there can be no guarantee in it, even though long term you may end up getting better results, providing they're using those white hat techniques to optimize your website. You may invest the time or some money in training yourself so you can optimize your own website. Depending on your role on the website, on the type of website, I really do think it's beneficial for all webmasters and people who manage websites to understand how to best optimize their own website. There's a lot that you can do if you're adding content to your own website and managing your own website that you can be optimizing as you go, as opposed to sitting down and going, I am going to optimize my site this afternoon or this week. And that's a really good practice to get into by knowing what your keywords are, using them in the right places, and that can garner those long-term results as well. But there's often that time or financial cost in that training and upskilling yourself in that regard. With Google AdWords, Google Ads, on the other hand, there is definitely an ongoing cost. So regardless of whether you are managing your Google Ads yourself, and if you've invested the time or some money into training to understand how to set up campaigns effectively, there may be that one-off cost. You may be outsourcing your campaigns to an agency who may charge a management fee on top of that budget. But regardless, with Google Ads, there's going to be an ongoing advertising budget to guarantee that your ads do have the option of returning in search results. So there's going to be an ongoing cost there that needs to be factored into your budget, as opposed to with SEO, you, like I said, particularly if you're handling it yourself, you've still got that time investment, but you may not have that ongoing cost. You cannot buy SEO, you can buy SEO services, but you can't buy organic search results in that regard. So that's another pro and con to consider between the two of them. The third point, which I think is really important when you're trying to decide between SEO and Google Ads and which is right for you, is the context of your website, your organization, the products and services that you offer as well. And this is going to depend, it's going to be more of a case-by-case basis, but you've got to think about your audience and would they expect to see paid search results for you in Google search results or Bing ads if you're using a different search engine interface. Because it's one thing to just want to get traffic to your website and want to get traffic from search versus getting traffic from paid search. So I've been doing some work recently with a woman who runs a health advocacy group, and we had this very discussion about whether or not Google Ads would be suitable for her audience. And we came to the agreement in her situation that because she is a nonprofit advocacy group, if she were investing in Google Ads, even though she may be eligible for the Google nonprofit grants, it could be misconstrued in that she is trying to have a financial benefit or sell something through her site, which she isn't. She's simply providing education and information as an advocacy group. So that's certainly not to say that Google Ads are not suitable for nonprofits, because they can be hugely beneficial with raising awareness, getting new sponsors and donors and all sorts of reasons. And the fact that Google offer the Google Ad grants to nonprofits can be really beneficial as well. But it's just thinking about whether or not it's going to be suitable and what your audience would expect to see, and if they're then likely to click on it. Obviously with Google Ads, if they don't click on it, you're not going to be getting charged, but there could be that perception if they're seeing ads for your products or services in paid search. I mean, admittedly, there are still a lot of people who don't recognize the difference between paid ads and search ads, but there's also very savvy audience as well. So it's going to be about knowing your audience and having that understanding of whether or not they would potentially see any issue with it. And that also raises bigger organisational issues in regards to if you are a nonprofit or an advocacy group that doesn't have a source of income to then be spending ongoing money, if you don't have that Google ad grant on ads, could be not a very sustainable. So those three factors to think about: time, so how quickly you want results, the cost, not only the setup or the training costs, but those ongoing costs that you might incur from hiring somebody to do your SEO, or the ongoing costs from Google Ads, and also the context. And that's the context of people searching for your products and whether they might have any issue between seeing paid ads and versus organic results as well. But to go back to the question about which is going to be best for you, what I would always recommend doing, first of all, if you are considering between the two, is doing some keyword research. So regardless of whether you end up investing in Google Ads or SEO, both use keywords at their foundation. So we are looking at trying to attract traffic from search, whether it's paid results or organic results. It's people who are searching online or using voice search, and fundamentally we use keywords to do that. So do some keyword research. You can do that just by brainstorming the keywords that you would like your website or expect your website to rank for in search. Asking people, particularly people in your target audience, is always really good. If you were looking for our product or for our service, how would you search for it? What keywords would you type in, or how would you ask the question? You can use Google Search Console to find out what keywords your website is ranked for already and in what positions. There's also paid tools like SEMrush, which you can use to get that information as well. But Search Console is a free tool from Google that gives you that information. And there's also other research tools. So one that I would recommend if you want to do some keyword research, which I recommend you doing if you're trying to decide between these, is kwfinder.com. They do have a free plan as well. You can use it once for free in 24 hours, or once without signing in 24 hours, or you can scroll right down the bottom. They do promote their paid plans up the top, but you do have a free registered plan at the bottom, which does have some limitations with it. But I would definitely recommend doing that keyword research. Tools like KW Finder will give you an indication of the keyword difficulty. So how difficult it will be to rank for particular keywords in organic search based on other websites competing in the same area. It will also give you an indication of the cost per click, so how much Google Ads is charging. And this information is really important because not only will it help you understand, and it gives you the volume of people who are actually searching for that keyword and related keywords. So the value of doing that keyword research, first of all, helps you understand what keywords people are actually looking for. So you can put in your focus keyword with KW Finder and it will give you other suggested keywords. So you can find out what keywords people are actually looking for, and on average, how many times per month they're being searched for. And KW Finder will let you narrow that down to your geographic location if that's important for you. That keyword difficulty index, so how difficult is this keyword going to be to rank for in organic search, and what is the average cost per click. And that information can really help you understand potentially how long it might take you to get those results if you were to optimize your website organically, and how much you're going to have to look at potentially budgeting for Google AdWords. If a keyword is 20 cents cost per click, then $5 a day is going to go a lot further than if a keyword is $5 or $7 or $8 per click. So just to start getting that understanding. And what I would recommend either way is doing your keyword research and sorting it into keyword groups or keyword topics based around your products and services that you offer, and looking at the keyword difficulty and the cost per click, average cost per click, based on those different keyword groups. You'll usually be able to get a sense for, is one going to be more difficult or more expensive than the other? And that can then help guide you in either optimizing your website or doing Google Ads, or both. To answer the question of SEO versus Google Ads, I will always advocate for optimizing your website where possible. I think it is the best practice for long-term results to make sure you have a healthy website that loads quickly, is technically well built, is going to facilitate search engine crawling and indexing, and has really solid content. So really great content, knowing what keywords, even if it's going to take a long time. So if you're in business for a very, very short time, if you're only planning on running a short event or that type of thing, it might not, SEO might not be for you. But if you're hoping your business or organization is going to be around for a long time, I'll always recommend knowing what your keywords are, using them correctly through your website so you can build a strong organic base in search results long term. Then, if you do want those quick results as well, you can always focus your Google Ads on the keywords that are either most important to you and going to give you the most benefit and the best results, or the keywords which you are really struggling to rank for organically. So let your organic results work where you're already working, or where you're already getting good results in organic, and focus your ads on the areas where you're not getting as good results at that time. And that can be a good way to balance the two. So to figure out that information, you can use things like Google Analytics. So look at how much traffic you're currently getting from search, from organic search, and keep an eye on that, particularly if you start investing in optimizing your website. And if you end up doing Google ads, you'll get an idea of how much traffic you're getting from search and what kind of response they're having to your website. Because what you also don't want is getting traffic from organic search or paid search and then finding that they're bouncing straight off your website, only viewing the one page. They're not spending any time on site because you're actually targeting incorrectly with your keywords. So that's why getting your keywords right in the first place, whether you're doing Google ads or SEO, is fundamentally important. And you can also, when you are optimizing your site organically, keep an eye on how your website's actually traveling for those keywords as well. So you can either track that manually by searching through, like Googling for your keywords. Make sure you do that not logged into your Google account and using private or incognito browsing. Otherwise, your search results may be a bit skewed. So the best way is to open a private browsing window, make sure you're not logged into anything, type in your keyword, count down the results until you actually find your website. And that's a way of figuring out your manual positioning for that keyword. It does take a bit of time, but it's a free way of doing it. It just costs you your time. Otherwise, there are tools like SEMrush or Moz where you can actually, they're paid tools. I haven't found a good free tool that tracks your keyword rankings on an ongoing basis for you, but you can actually just type in all of your keywords and it will keep a track of an independent track of how your website's ranking for those keywords organically. So that can give you an idea of how well you're traveling over time as well. So do let me know if you have any questions, but to answer my question from the start, SEO versus Google ads, consider your time, how quickly you want results, consider the cost, both the setup cost and the ongoing costs. If they're there, consider the context of your audiences and whether or not they're going to be comfortable or expect to see you in paid search results, or if that's going to be a negative reflection on your organization. Before even making that decision, do some keyword analysis to get an understanding of those keywords, because you will use them either to optimize your pages, because it's best to have those keyword groups and optimize your pages based on around a particular keyword topic. And you can also use them as ad groups. So you've got that information to start off with, and you'll have an understanding of what terms people are searching for, how often they're being searched for, what the keyword difficulty is, and what the approximate cost per click is as well. But I would recommend SEO for long-term results. Invest in SEO. And then if you do want those quick results as well, look at using Google ads to complement what you're doing in your organic optimization.